How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I actually have one that is, I'm not going to say it again, I'm not going to say this is different than normal, because to be honest, lately it's not. I have a video for you guys that hopefully will help you out with PVM. It's going to be 5 ways that you personally can improve at PVM. Now, some of these you may not need to do, as you may already know how to do half of the stuff in here if you are a high level player, but some of them is for high level people as well. So the stuff in here is not going to be in a specific order, but it will be useful for people who are just starting into PVM, people who have been doing it for a little while, and people who are a lot better, people who are doing really good at it and getting quite a lot of drops and getting into it. And pretty much, yeah, just anyone could probably learn from this, from the specific stuff, unless you're someone who is ridiculously good at this game, in which case then you don't really need this video, but you can leave a like before you go if you want. Anyway, we're going to jump into it pretty quick. If you do enjoy the video, if it helps you out, if you learn anything new, then leave a like on it. And if you are new to the channel and you enjoy and want to learn more as well in the future, make sure to subscribe as well, because, you know, there's going to be more videos coming very quick. Like, these coming up daily at the moment. So do subscribe, and let's start off with the first thing you can do. Again, not in any order, but let's get started. Alright, so like I said, these are not in any specific order, but let's start off with the very first one. To be honest, this is probably kind of meant to be the first one, because this is going to be learn your defensive abilities and learn how to use them properly. Now, defensive abilities are ridiculously important for doing PVM, especially towards high end as well, and you will be using them all the time at specific times. You need to know how they work. Jagex very kindly actually did a tooltip update very recently, and it does explain stuff a lot better than it used to. The abilities used to be so confusing when you used to read them. They were ridiculous, and it was just sort of like someone just chucked a load of words on the page, but now it actually makes more sense. But basically, you want to go through, have a look at your defensive abilities and have a read through them. A lot of them will make sense at points that you want to use these, but for example, the main ones that you're going to use is Anticipating Freedom. These two will be used to control yourself through stuns, so if there's anything that's going to stun you or bind you, then you'll be using these all the time. The next ones that you'll be using a lot is Resonance. This will basically take a hit for you and heal you instead of doing damage to you. It is incredibly useful for reducing food costs, and it's also used a lot in places to reduce damage for abilities down to 0, so get you through the fight a lot easier. The next one is Barricade. This is an ultimate defensive ability. This will literally reduce all damage to 0 for the whole time you keep your shield on until the duration runs out. It is incredibly useful, and it can save your life in a lot of situations, and it is definitely something that you'll be using as well. Devotion is an ability that will make your prayers that you are using 100% effective. So if you are using Protect from Magic, for example, and use Devotion, you are going to be taking absolutely no magic damage whatsoever while this is up. The same goes, of course, for all the other prayer styles as well. So these are probably like the main defensives that you're going to use, but of course the rest of them are all really useful as well. So just go through them, read through them, figure out what they do, and you will probably be able to work out a lot of situations you'll be able to use this. But as long as you know what they do, as you are learning bosses, it will make a lot more sense when these are being used. Very quickly, if you want, I can make a guide on the defensive abilities and go through when you would use them and give examples for all of them. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. I can definitely do that if you're interested. Alright, the second one is going to be learn full manual combat and keybinds. Now, this is a lot. This is a big thing, and it's a huge step, and you don't have to do it. This is another one that I said at the beginning, you do not have to do this, but keybinds are important. However, you can use Revolution. It works absolutely fine. I am a solid believer in that people can do endgame PVM with Revolution. However, using full manual will increase your DPS. It will. It just does. That's just how it works. However, you can do absolutely fine without it. Now, as this is 5 ways to improve yourself at PVM, this is one of the things that I have to mention. Using full manual will make things for timing things a lot better. It will make you be able to use a lot more DPS, and it just gives you a lot more control over your abilities and what you are doing in the game. Now, personally, I couldn't continue on using Revolution. I seriously used to struggle doing anything but Revolution, but then once I made the change to full manual and I got all my keybinds set up, I cannot possibly play this game now without it. So I need full manual. It works. It's absolutely awesome, and it definitely will help you out a lot when you get to higher level bosses such as Telos, because there's a lot of things in there that you need to time correctly, and if you have Revolution firing up abilities here and there, sometimes it's going to screw you over. But full manual is definitely something that you should learn if you have the time and the patience for it, and if you want to improve as much as you possibly can. However, this is kind of like a double tip one, and that is basically, I mentioned before, that you should set up keybinds. Now, keybinds are incredible in this game, and it will help you out a hell of a lot. Now, having everything keybound will definitely help you out. You can start off by using things like your prayers, using your like protect from magic, range and melee prayers. They will help out a lot, having them keybound of course, but having everything including food, items, switches like prayer potions, all of that stuff is ridiculously helpful to have them keybound. Now, not only that, ultimate abilities, threshold abilities, all these things, if you have keybinds on them and you have all of them bound, the ones that you're going to be using pretty much all the time, it will save you a lot of hassle if you get used to these keybinds. Now, I have a guide on this for using full manual and setting up keybinds. I will link that in the description below, so do actually check that out if you're interested in doing this, because it does take a lot of time to explain. But like I said, you can use Revolution. It's not an issue. If you are going to be sticking with that, then go ahead. It's absolutely fine, but definitely full manual and keybinds will help you out if you're looking to improve in every single way possible. Alright, so the next one's kind of going to plug me a little bit with my stuff, and pretty much every other YouTuber as well. So what you're going to want to do is, when you are learning bosses, this is for beginners, this is probably for beginners or people who are learning at a new boss themselves. So say if you are even pretty good at PVM and you want to go and learn Solak, then guides, use guides, just look through them, read through it, listen to it on YouTube, do whatever you need to do. Just learn those mechanics before you throw yourself at it. It will help you out a ton. If you go into a boss fight, it can be ridiculously fun going into a boss fight without any guides. So, of course, if that's what you enjoy doing, then get yourself in there, get your ass kicked a few times, and try and figure out the mechanics, because that's the fun of a new boss. Obviously, when there's a new boss come out, then you don't know any of these guides, everyone's trying to work it out, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. But if you've done that for a while and you're not progressing, then it might be time to use a guide. Now, using guides for stuff at bosses really will be incredibly helpful, because you'll be going in knowing what each mechanic is, knowing how to deal with it in a basic way at least, and it will just help you out with practicing stuff a lot. You can focus on stuff like your DPS a little bit easier. You don't have to get all the stressed outness of dying over and over again. It will save you money on your onyxes as well. So using guides from things like YouTube guides, or even just using the wiki and having a quick scan through the mechanics, will definitely help you out. Now, obviously, this is kind of like a very straightforward point, like just use a guide. Why wouldn't you use a guide? But I know there's people out there, because I actually am one of them as well, that I just don't like using guides at first. I just like to go in there and I like to give it a shot, but it definitely does help you out. And when I finally give in and go and check out guides, it does help. It helps a hell of a lot. So I would recommend using them. There's some great guides on YouTube. There's some awesome content creators who make brilliant guides. So if you are looking for those, then give them a search, and hopefully they help you out as well. Alright, so you ready for another one that you really probably don't absolutely have to do, but to be fair, you probably should learn this if you can and have the patience for it. It's going to be 4-tick auto attack with magic. So if you like to use magic a lot and you don't 4-tick auto attack, then you probably should learn it. It is really, really good. It increases your damage a hell of a lot. And there's also situations where you'll be able to use 4-tick auto attacking to control things like the golems at Telos, or during ED1 I like to freeze stuff as I'm flying past it so that they can't chase me. It's really, really useful. Well, what is 4-tick auto attacking for the people who don't know? Basically, if you have on a wand and an orb, use an ability, and then change to your staff, press a keybound spell from your magic book, so for something like Ice Barrage, and then also fire off an ability straight after you do that. This will be a 4-tick auto attack. It will force out an auto attack every single time you do this. However, you do have to then swap back to your wand and orb, use another ability, and then swap back to your staff, use the auto attack and another ability, but it does increase your damage a lot. This might sound like it's really not worth doing. You might be thinking that's a lot of work just for a little bit of extra damage, but to be honest, once you get used to it, it's actually quite fun to do. I enjoy 4-ticking, and it's something that I now can't stop myself from doing sometimes, and it really doesn't actually become a chore. So once you've learned it, it is really, really useful. It can help you out with DPS. It can be really fun for controlling other sort of NPCs during boss fights and stuff, and it's definitely something that I would suggest learning if you like using magic quite a lot. Now, with God Wars 3 coming up, magic will maybe get a buff. Like, everything else is in a good place, but magic really could use a buff. So hopefully during God Wars 3 it is going to get a buff. So if you're planning on using magic and you are planning on upgrading to it when that comes out, if there is a buff with it, then 4-ticking will definitely be something that is probably still around. I doubt it gets removed from any point, because it's really useful in specific situations in the game now. So I would highly suggest learning this if you are looking to get the most out of your magic DPS, as like I say, it's just a really good improvement. Well, damn, have we already gone through 4? We're on the 5th one already. Okay, so let's go. Last one. Practice prayer flicking. Prayer flicking is ridiculously useful. 1, in saving you food if you can flick to soul split, and then back to the protect from magic or whatever you need to use at that time. But also there's going to be bosses in this game that you'll be fighting that will literally require you to prayer flick for either all of their abilities like at Raksha, or just every now and again to some different ones like at Araxi. Now these bosses range from obviously lower end sort of PVM like Araxor. I really don't expect Araxor to be counted as like end game PVM because it's kind of like entry level to mechanics, I would say. But towards the end of that fight, you are going to need to do prayer flicking for even just your protection prayers. It's really useful to learn this, and it's something that will be useful throughout the rest of the game for your PVMing. Now, Raksha is a different story. This boss requires you to flick between 3 combat styles the whole fight, and it's something that will take a lot of practice, but it will pay off so much, and I promise you that. So what I would suggest doing is coming to Raksha, just entering in a practice session and going through here and just practicing your prayer flicking. Now what I would suggest doing though is always going back to Soul Split, because if you can use this in any other situation as well, you'll always have the option to use Soul Split and then a protection prayer to keep your health high and reduce the amount of food you need to use. For example, the ED1, I constantly use Soul Split to heal up my health between mechanics and between attacks from Seiryu, and it does help a hell of a lot. It reduces food, it pretty much makes that boss absolutely foodless. You don't need to use any food whatsoever, as long as you don't end up taking loads of damage from the mechanics, but you're absolutely fine if you can keep Soul Splitting, and this will be useful literally at pretty much every single boss. It will help you out a lot. I would highly recommend, like I say, coming to Raksha, using a practice mode and just coming in here and watching out for his animations, getting used to those, and just getting used to switching between them and Soul Split. It will keep your health high, it will make sure that you take as little damage as possible while using as little food as possible. It's definitely something that you can use in an end game situation. Now, I'm sure plenty of you guys are like, I'm sure the RS guy made a video talking about practicing prayer flicking at Raksha. Yes, he did. So I'm going to say now, go and watch that video if you're interested in seeing what I mean. He does a really good job of explaining this, and I just wanted to let you guys know that this is something that will definitely help you out. So go and check that out on his channel. The RS guy, he made a really good video on it. So if you are looking at getting better at prayer flicking, then that video will definitely help you out. Alright, so that is going to be the end of this video. I really hope that you found something in here that was useful. I hope that if you can go out and learn all of these, that it does help you out and makes your endgame PVMing a hell of a lot better. So hopefully you have taken something away from this video, and hopefully I have not just wasted your time. Let me know in the comments if I did, because, you know, either way, you can just let me know. If you did find something interesting, then again, leave that in the comments as well. Ask any questions, I will happily answer all of them, and I do try my best to get to every single comment that you guys leave. Like, I am trying my best. It's getting a lot more hard to do lately, but I will keep trying my best. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on it. If you enjoyed and you are new, then do subscribe to the channel as well, because there'll be a hell of a lot of RuneScape content coming out very soon, along with progression stuff, things like this video, which is meant to help you out with PVM, or anything about making money. All that sort of good stuff should be coming very soon. Anyway, again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.